Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to demonstrate unequivocally that Afrikaners are held to a different standard in this country. If you want to build a university, then there's going to be a former minister and a member of parliament for the last 30 years that's going to have an issue with it and even go so far as to label it racist. And I'm talking, of course, about Naledi Pandor that now has an issue with the Akademia University that's being built. And please note, this university has not cost taxpayers a single cent. The government has not contributed anything towards this university, and the only thing this university is offering is to teach people in Afrikaans. And yet this former minister of various departments and a member of parliament for the last 30 years have got an issue with it. Now the obvious question is, what's wrong with wanting to preserve your culture? What is wrong with expanding your language in the educational sector and ensuring that your language and your culture is protected? After all, the Constitution affords us that, as every single cultural group has the right to that in South Africa. Now, before I show you this very concerning video, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything, as well as smashing the like button and sharing this video far and wide. All right, get ready because this is going to shock you. Now, this is her appearance on the African Renaissance podcast, and just listen to what she's got to say.
You know, the fact that a university that intends to be Afrikaans medium is being built and is receiving hundreds of millions of rands,
billions,
is just something, you know. And the only person who comments, Jonathan Jansen. The rest of us were quiet.
What's the problem? Like, seriously. What is the problem with a specific cultural group ensuring that their future is ensured by allowing universities to be built that's going to further the language and the culture? Why is that a problem?
We're too complacent.
Who's we? Who's the we that you are talking about? Are you talking about black people? Are you talking about the ANC? Are you talking about the government? Who is the we in your statement? Because are we not all South Africans? Are we not all allowed, according to the Constitution, to further our cultural groupings? Are we not allowed to improve our culture to the best of our ability? Because what you are trying to say here is that how dare they? And what exactly are we doing as Afrikaners that's so insulting to you? The fact that we aren't stealing hundreds of millions of rands, the fact that every single cent is accounted for, the fact that when we say we're going to do something, we actually do it and we build it. How many universities has the ANC built? How many hospitals and other institutions have the ANC built as the government? And then please tell us how much money has been looted. How many hospitals and schools and clinics could not be built because of the money that the ANC stole? And then you want to belittle, attack, and insult a cultural group that's actually accounting for every single cent that they're spending. And I once again reiterate my question. What is the problem here? And who is the we that you are referencing?
With our freedom. And it's a huge undertaking because what we are battling is centuries of racism and colonialism.
How is building an Afrikaans university that is open to black Afrikaans speakers, colored Afrikaans speakers, Indian Afrikaans speakers, and white Afrikaans speakers a problem? How is that racist? How is that colonialism? How is that apartheid? Like, I once again will just reiterate, the Constitution in section 29, 30, and 31 guarantees us the right to do that. And I'll explain that just now. But this we, us, them, they, it's so backwards from especially a minister of various departments and somebody that was high up in the ANC and somebody that is currently the chancellor of Nelson Mandela University. How is this acceptable behavior?
And people who've had control don't let go easily.
Let go of what? Allowing students to be taught in their mother tongue. I mean, this is the issue here. The issue that Naledi Pandor has is that Afrikaners dare build a university for themselves. And Afrikaners, meaning anybody that speaks Afrikaans. Like I said, and I want to reiterate this again, if you are willing to be taught in Afrikaans, you can go to that university regardless of your race. So, once again, where's the racism? Where's the colonialism? Where's apartheid in all of this nonsense?
So what they do, they find other ways. So they'll get, entrepreneurs who become their tools, who work against you, but you think they're working for what you aspire toward.
How are they working against anybody? They're minding their own business. Just like Urania is minding their own business. They're not hurting anybody. They're not taking from taxpayers, wasting taxpayers' money. They're literally minding their own business. They're rendering their own services. And yet they are one of the biggest racist and problematic towns in the world, according to the ANC and the government. And now that Akademia is being built, now apparently this is a problem too. Like, at what point do you just call out Naledi Pandor's racism and her issue that she has with white people and specifically Afrikaners? Or are we not allowed to mention that?
So we also need to have regard that we're not just in a democratic South Africa. We are in a process of building a fundamentally different, endurable, progressive democracy.
Oh, are you? Please tell me more. I mean, today they announced another 345,000 jobs that have been shed in this economy. Corruption being the highest that it's ever been. Unemployment that's being the highest that it's ever been. Youth unemployment the highest that it's ever been. The murder rate, the crime statistics in the country being the worst that it's ever been. The infrastructure in this country being the worst that it's ever been. Lack of service delivery being the worst that it's ever been. And you want to tell me that you are building a robust democracy. But explain to me then how this is not allowed in our democracy, the fact that a cultural group is building something for themselves. How is that controversial?
And if we understand that, then AfriForum won't have currency. But because we have no answer, we're too casual.
The reason you don't have any currency against AfriForum is because for every cent they spend, they account for it. Now let's play this game with the African National Congress, with the EFF, with MK, with the government. Let's see how much of every single rand that is spent, how much of that rand goes towards where it's supposed to go versus how much goes to corruption. Dawie Rood had an analysis the other day that said from every single rand that is being spent, only 3 cents of value is obtained, which means 97 cents go to corruption.
We just take things for granted. And I am afraid sometimes at the lackadaisical response that we have.
Response to what? People building something for themselves that doesn't exclude anybody. I mean, what is the real issue here? Afrikaans have been removed out of most universities in South Africa, and then the Afrikaner goes, okay, well, considering that the government is doing that, we are going to build our own university that's for Afrikaners that can speak Afrikaans at this, and allow everybody that wants to speak Afrikaans to attend this, and you've got a problem with that. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So Afrikaners must just sit down and accept the fact that their language is being destroyed at universities by being completely removed from it. And then the moment they build a university to celebrate their language and to ensure that their language survives, then you've got a problem with that too. How does this work?
To conservative liberalism. And I really think we need to have a conversation about building organizations which are political, but which understand history, and which, when they develop a response, understand that it needs to be strategic.
Like literal bullshit from this former minister. And just to illustrate the point further, if you look at her history over here, Minister of Education, did she leave it better than what she found it in? No. Minister of Science and Technology, did she leave it better than what she found it in? No. Minister of Home Affairs? Hell no. Minister of Science and Technology? Hell no. Minister of Higher Education and Training? Hell no. Minister of International Relations and Cooperation? Weird. Isn't this the very same minister that celebrated with Hamas literally 10 days after the October 7th attacks? Is this not the same minister that is aligning with Iran and their government, the same government that killed over 30,000 of their own people? And we should listen to you, Naledi Pandor. Sit down, please. And then, of course, just to bring this back to the Constitution, Section 29, Independent Educational Institution, grants everyone the right to establish and maintain at their own expense independent educational institutions, provided they do not discriminate on the basis of race, register with the state, and maintain academic standards not inferior to public equivalents. Well, I can guarantee you that won't be a problem. Section 30. Language and culture protects the right of individuals to use their language and participate in the cultural life of their choice. This is the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got Naledi Pandor that is telling us that we should not adhere to this Constitution, we should adhere to her thinking. Section 31, Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, ensures that persons belonging to a cultural, religious or linguistic community may not be denied the right to enjoy their culture, practice their religion, and use their language, or to form and maintain linguistic associations. So, what exactly is the problem here, Naledi Pandor? You see, I know what the problem is, and I think you do too. It's the fact that it's a white person doing something for themselves in this country, and in this specific case, Afrikaners. Because God forbid that white people in this country, when there's 144 race-based laws directly discriminating against them, doing something for themselves. And in this case, Akademia University that is literally not costing the taxpayers a cent. That is now a problem. They managed to raise all this funds by themselves, and Naledi Pandor is making this an issue, making this a racial matter, bringing in colonialism, bringing in apartheid. And the question you have to ask yourself is, well, has Afrikaans been removed out of a lot of universities over the last 25 years? The answer is an unequivocal yes. And now when the Afrikaner wants to ensure that their language survives and they build a university that teaches in Afrikaans, then they also have a problem with that. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But you see, nobody's allowed to speak about this undercover racism from Naledi Pandor. Nobody's allowed to call her out, even though she is currently the Chancellor of Nelson Mandela University here in Nelson Mandela Bay. Now, where in your life have you ever heard a Chancellor speak ill about another university that's being built that will ensure that future generations are taught in their mother tongue and that they can be the best versions of themselves? There must be a racial undertone if you as the Chancellor have got an issue with other universities and people being educated in the way that they choose to be educated in. And then, of course, the Constitution. Does this mean nothing to Naledi Pandor? The fact that not a single law is being broken, there's no discrimination, and ultimately she still has a problem with it. This is somebody that's been a minister of at least 5 to 6 different departments that left it in a worse state than what she found it in, that congratulated and spoke to Hamas on October 17th, 10 days after the October 7th attacks. The same person that was part of DIRCO as the minister that literally spoke to Iran and sided with Iran. A regime that kills their own civilians when they decide to stand up against their government. Is this really the type of person that you want to listen to, South Africa? Is this really the person that you should take advice from? My advice to Naledi Pandor is perhaps focus on the university that you are a chancellor of. When I tried to apply for a master's degree in normal psychology, they told me that, sorry, we lost accreditation. So there's a lot of accreditation that's being lost at the Nelson Mandela University, and people that can't get their master's or doctor's degree because there just isn't the quality of educators there anymore, or not enough willpower to formulate programs. But yet you want to criticize an Afrikaans University that's raised over R1 billion to build it themselves, didn't cost the taxpayers anything, and will without a shadow of a doubt be successful. Sit down and shut up. Nobody cares about your opinion. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to contribute financially, you can give a super thanks by clicking the $ below, or you can become a member of this channel by clicking the join button below, and it'll be greatly appreciated. And that's all I got to say, everybody. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.